Hello, sorcerers. I'm gonna admit something to you. I'm feeling a little restless right now. It's the beginning of the year. We're setting goals, right? You work for corporate America. This is probably a time where you're setting goals and setting the stage for the entire year. And as I undertake these activities, I'm starting to question things. I'm starting to look at the activities and the areas where I spend energy. And I'm wondering if this is the most efficient and effective way to spend my time, my team's time. I've been a little punchy. I've been on some meetings, I've been calling some things out, I've been questioning why we're doing things that we're doing. I think there is a way to get in front of this restlessness, and I'm gonna share it with you. Are you ready? Talk to your customers and ask them what they actually want. I know this sounds simple, but I'm telling you, and really think about it for yourselves. How often do you actually go back in a corporate setting, if you are supporting another organization, and actually ask that leader, that customer, hey, what do you actually want to see in this output that I'm making? What do you actually want? Or have you just been making something that the person before did and you inherited it, and the person that you're giving the report to inherited it because they're in a new role? Let's face it, in corporate America, people are constantly shifting jobs. It's not the same thing as a small business. People are coming in and out of an organization and a corporation, and we cling to these things that the previous person did because we think that it's working. And it probably is working, and it probably was working when the thing was created. But now there is a legacy. And now it may be 2 years later, it might be 5 years later, it might be 10 years later, and you're still doing the same damn thing. My advice to you is to question that. Right? It could very well be that the thing is super important and then you feel validated in the work that you're doing. Or you could find out that there is a massive opportunity for improvement because things evolve. I made a comment in an older video that I made that's kind of popular on this channel, which was procurement people, right? Because I do procurement. What are good procurement metrics? And the way that I started that video was a quote that I heard from somewhere, and I don't know where I got it from. I wish that I did. And the quote is, "We measure the things that we can because we often can't measure the things that we care about or that we really want to measure. So you just cling to the stuff that you can grab and it doesn't mean anything." So a good way to gut check this entire situation is to talk to your customers. Do you actually want this thing? Do you actually need this thing? Is it actually helping you, or is it just some document that shows up in your inbox that you promptly ignore? I don't mean to assume that you aren't doing this already, right? And my organization does this. We're constantly talking to customers and we're constantly fielding things that they're asking for. But the counterpoint to that is that there is generally a set of products that my team has been producing for a long time, and we continue to do it because there is a feeling of expectation that everyone is looking for these things. And it could very well be that they are still looking for those things, but can they be modified for new data, new information, new trends, whatever it may be? Is there a window to modify and to make it better? And I'm sure your customers, they're begging for something like this. They may not even realize that they need it or that they're looking for it. But if you go to them and say, hey, take a look at this thing. We make this every month. Have you seen it? Have you really looked at it? Yes or no, whatever it is. They might come back and say, no, I've never seen this before. Oh, I actually really like it. That happens a lot because organizations are big. Not everybody's on the distribution list. So go to some trusted customers and say, look at this thing. Is this something that you use? Is it something that you could use? But then really go the next step. Really look at it and say, does this section make sense to you? Is this something that you really want? Could I replace this with something else? What would that be? Then you start to get into these more philosophical questions about where are you getting your data? Where is this information? How are you assembling the trends? Is all of that right? And again, don't do any of that navel gazing with your customer on the phone, but listen to them. Listen to what they're looking for, listen to what their business problems are, and see if the things that you have can potentially help solve it for them or give them insights so they can solve it for themselves. And if nothing else, this is going to strengthen your relationship with that customer. Those honest conversations about, hey, are we doing the right things for you? Is this working? It's just going to make your relationship better with your customer. Even if they like the product and they're like, yep, cool, this is great. They don't give you any other feedback. They'll know that you are looking to do something extra for them, and that will establish credibility. And how should you collect that feedback? I'm hoping that you are inferring that this should be a one-on-one conversation. Feedback and survey systems are good, but this is a live conversation, and have more live conversations with the people that you support, the people that you are attempting to help. Have real talk, and it doesn't have to be these grandiose, large meetings with 50 people on a call. In fact, don't do that. Have some one-on-one meetings with people that you engage with, that you trust, that you want their feedback from, and then build off of that for those 50-party meetings, those 50-people meetings. Ask your customers open-ended questions. Ask them to go deeper. Ask them to tell you stories about things that worked, things that didn't work. Why didn't they work? Go deeper. Try to understand their problems and what their business objectives are and their goals, and the thing that you do, how can that help them get better at their objectives? And again, I know this sounds generic, but in the procurement space, let me just tie it all together. A lot of times in this business environment, in these markets, you're looking to find ways of meeting savings targets, of reducing expenses. That is something that we can most definitely work for and help with. But in the terms of procurement, a lot of times customers of procurement organizations just think that procurement people are these savings ghouls, and they'll be like, let's just RFP everything, and yes, we're going to save you a bunch of money. But customers don't want to shift from their incumbent supplier. They don't want to shift off a tool base or a talent base. And that is something that you need to be sensitive to. So how can you keep a supplier or keep a product or keep a service and get the costs reduced? There are ways to do that. And not every one of these situations is going to pan out. But if you keep coming to them with solutions, with options, and show that you're actively listening to their issues and their needs, they're going to appreciate it. They're going to respond to it. And then eventually there's going to be a hit. There's going to be something that's going to work out, and it's going to elevate everyone. Talk to your customers. Listen to them. Reach out to them. Ask for their feedback. Ask them if the product and the things that you're making for them are actually helpful, or if they can be improved, or if there's other things that they're looking for. For those of you watching this video, share a comment, share a story about where you reached out to a customer and it was a successful situation, or maybe it was an unmitigated disaster. Throw those in there too. Keep me humble. It's just important to keep trying to evolve, to change, and to improve. And the only way you do that is to face difficult situations, to face uncomfortable situations, and figure out the way through. Thanks for watching this video. I appreciate it. Again, I highly encourage you to leave some comments, to leave some questions, and I'll be back with another video in a couple of weeks. Take care.